Welcome to the Stepmom Side with Alicia, the podcast for stepmoms ready to create the life they want and one they actually have a say in. Here we talk all things stepmom life and just a little bit more. Leave the superficial conversations at the door and get ready for perspective shifts and actionable advice to help you on your way to creating the life you want, one step at a time. Welcome back to the Stepmom Side Podcast. I'm your host, Alicia, and today we're going to dive into all things codependency. And so I'm really excited that you're here to chat about this one, because let's talk about codependency as a stepmom and how it affects your role. We're going to dive deep into codependent patterns, how they show up in your stepmom life, and what to do about them. And if you want real support and community for blended family life, stick around to the end for a special invitation, because this topic specifically came from a post inside the Stepmom Side community. And I'm not just saying that as like a shameless plug, like, hey, join the community. But seriously, a stepmom had written something in there and someone had responded and was like, hey, could you make a podcast episode about codependency? I feel like it would be a really good podcast episode to add on or to go hand in hand with episode number 98 of the Stepmom Side podcast, the one that's titled Feeling Powerless as a Stepmom. It might be the victim mindset. I will link that also in the show notes. But she was like, can you please make a podcast episode about codependency? And I was like, yes, ma'am. I'm here for you. Because I, to be honest, didn't understand what codependency was. I didn't know what it was until I knew what it was. And then I couldn't unsee all of the things that I was doing that were codependent. And I was like, oh my gosh, how did I get here? How did we get to this situation? Because if you're like me, you're very type A. You can be labeled as a control freak, but you're ambitious, you're driven, you're headstrong, like you know what you want and you're not afraid to get it and all of the things. But then all of a sudden you realize that like that's not what's happening. But before we get into this whole thing, let's go into like what is codependency. So from Psychology Today, codependency is a dysfunctional relationship dynamic where one person assumes the role of the giver, sacrificing their own needs and well-being for the sake of the other, the taker. The bond in question doesn't have to be romantic. It can occur just as easily between parent and child, friends, and family members. The term codependency first appeared in substance abuse circles to describe a lopsided relationship that has been consumed and controlled by one person's addiction. It grew in popularity and became a shorthand for any enabling relationship. Codependency is not a clinical diagnosis or a personality disorder and has sparked much debate and controversy among psychology experts. And then the same article, which I will link also in the show notes, goes on to say healthy relationships are mutually beneficial, providing love and support to both parties. Codependent relationships, on the other hand, are one-sided, casting one person in the role of constant caregiver. By being caring, high-functional, and helpful, that person is said to support, perpetuate, or enable a loved one's irresponsible or destructive behavior. For example, helping an inebriated spouse navigate an embarrassing situation or providing living quarters for a substance-using adult child is said to be counterproductive, a way of forestalling recovery and actually perpetuating the problem. Okay, now that we know what codependency is, let's talk about why it matters. That's the second part of number one. Here's how it creeps into stepmom relationships, whether it's with your partner, with the stepkids, with the other house, like with your in-laws, whatever. You don't really realize how codependent like you become. Like you get so wrapped up in what everyone else is doing. And honestly, for me personally, it came from a place of control because I needed to feel safe and I did not feel safe in my situation. Not that I was like in any physical harm or anything like that, but growing up, my mom was a single mom, like emotionally unavailable, all of the things. And so to feel safe, I needed that emotional validation. I needed like that external validation. So I was looking for that from my husband, from my stepkids. Well, I don't know if you know this, but stepkids are definitely not the person to be looking, or definitely not the people to be looking for emotional validation from. So when you define codependency, there's that excessive reliance on others for emotional validation, self-worth, and happiness. girlfriend, like, you're not going to get it there from stepkids, right? Especially if you're coming in like preteen, teen years, like I was, like, absolutely not happening. And so what would happen was I'm looking for the accolades, the gratitude, the, oh my gosh, Alicia, thank you so much. Not even like, oh my gosh, Alicia, you're amazing. We love you so much. Not even that. Like, that would have been great too. But like, thank you so much. Like, we see how hard you are working for us, or we see how, like, everything that you gave up, you know, because I moved states, all of the things. But no, I'm out floating on Stepmom Island by myself, and everyone is like just watching me, and they're like, good luck. And I'm like, you guys aren't coming to save me? Like, I'm struggling over here. And so I cared more than everyone else cared about everything. I, you know, tried to control situations. I tried to control people. Two things I highly, definitely don't recommend. But for me personally, it came down to wanting to feel safe, wanting to feel accepted, wanting to feel loved. And I wasn't feeling any of those things. Obviously, you know that too, because you're here listening to a Stepmom podcast. So now we know what codependency is, and like why it matters as far as like trying to get out of it is because you don't want this behavior in your own blended family, because it sucks, and it's a cycle that you will keep going through and you will never get off of or out of. It's another like stop on the roller coaster ride, like woohoo, like let's have fun. No, we're not having fun with this. Number 2, key codependent patterns. I already said like excessive reliance. So feeling like your emotional state depends on how others are doing. Your partner, your stepkids. Is their mom mad at you? Does she like you? Like your in-laws, are they happy with like how you're showing up or doing? Or, you know, are they comparing you to the ex or whatever? Like feeling like your emotional state depends on how others are doing is, now that I don't really do that so much anymore, I used to do it all the time. I'm not going to say that I'm not going to sit here and be like, you know what? I'm perfect at this. I never let my emotional state depend on how other people are doing. That is absolutely a lie. I will not tell that to you, because that's not true. I'm human, and I, you know, have my own things, and I'm like, I don't do it as much as I did, but I did it all the time. Like if somebody in our house was having a bad day, or they had a rain cloud following them around, or if they perpetually had a rain cloud following them around, I acted weird because I felt unsafe. I was like, oh my gosh, are they going to flip out on me? Are they going to blow up? Like whatever's going to happen, right? Like, or if they were really excited about something, I would be really excited about something. I'm like mirroring what they're doing. My emotional state was depending on what they were doing. And I've used this phraseology on here before. I don't even remember where I heard it, but like be the thermostat for your emotions and not the thermometer. So being the thermostat means like you get to set your mood, you get to set your emotions, you get to set everything. And that's it. But when you're the thermometer, you're going in and you're gauging the other person. Like if you and I were to meet and you were a thermometer, you would come and meet me and be like, oh, okay, Alicia seems like she's in a happy, fun mood, so I'm going to be happy and fun. But if Alicia is cranky and bitchy, like I'm going to kind of take a few steps back. Does that make sense? Like it's just that reliance on the other person for your emotional state. And honestly, like, it is so hard not to do this when you've got teenagers of your own, let alone stepkids in your house. It's really hard to navigate that dynamic of like, okay, how do I approach them? That's one thing, right? Like they're teenagers and they're moody and you're like, I don't even know what's going on. But like this part specifically, I'm talking about like your partner, and, you know, if they're stressed about something, you know, going on blended family wise, like sometimes we just take that on, and it's, why do we do this to ourselves? Oh my gosh, if you're listening and you just ask yourself that question, like, why do we do this to ourselves? Girl, same. Like, I even knew that I was doing it. And I'm like, why am I doing this to myself? Like, this doesn't matter. Like, why do I make myself crazy about this? What is going on? Anyway, so excessive reliance. Number 2, you might want to sit down for this one if you're not sitting down, or if you're driving, you might want to like pull over. Or if you are washing a sharp knife because you're doing dishes, like while you're listening to this, put the knife down. People pleasing. Tell me you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? So you're saying yes, even when it drains you. You're putting others first at your expense. You would much rather go and meet your friends tonight or tomorrow or in 2 weeks, but you've decided that, oh, I don't want to rock the boat. Like, things are really good in my blended family right now. So I don't want to say, yes, I want to go meet my friends because I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to, upset anyone. So I'm just going to say yes because I want everyone to like me. I want everyone to like me. How many times have you thought that? How many times have you decided like that's the hill that you're going to die on? I'm going to tell you something. You are never, 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 never going to ever be able to get every single person to like you. Ever. It's literally impossible. Somebody is always not going to like you for whatever. There's always going to be somebody smarter, prettier, faster, stronger, all of the things. Somebody is not going to like you. You could be, another analogy that I've heard that I have no idea where this even came from either. You could be the most, I just had a peach at lunch for breakfast, so I'm thinking about lunch. But you could be the most perfect, most ripe, most juiciest, sweetest peach in the entire world. Somebody still doesn't like peaches. There are people that don't like pizza. There are people that don't like tacos. There are people that don't like wine. There are people that don't like to work out. There are things that are universal that people like, seemingly. Somebody doesn't like them, whether they're contrarian or being a contrarian or just they just don't like them. Please, 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 for the love of God, please stop trying to get everyone to like you. That wasn't even a hill I was willing to die on. That was a mountain I was willing to die on. If I just try being nicer, everyone will like me. Wrong. Let me stop you. Wrong. Nope. Oh, I wish I would have known that in my early years. Not everyone is going to like you. And even if they do like you, they're not going to like you 100% of the time. Do you like your partner 100% of the time? Hell no, you don't. Don't even say, yes, I do. No, you don't, girlfriend. No, you do not. So people pleasing. So stop saying yes, especially when it drains you. Please stop putting others first at your expense. That it's not serving you. The third part of this one is the lack of boundaries. Letting demands, emotional or logistical, invade your time and energy. Whether it's you agree to last minute schedule changes, and I totally understand that sometimes you don't have the authority, if you will, to say no to a last minute schedule changes. But maybe you are trying to accommodate your partner's expectations. Maybe your partner's like, I think that you should be doing X, Y, and Z. And so you're like, well, I don't think I should be doing that. But in order to be a good, air quote, good stepmom, I'm going to do whatever it is that you think that they want you to do. Even though it's one of those things that if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. Learning how to have that confidence and getting that part through to you to be it's okay to say no. We don't need to let every single demand invade your time and energy. And one thing that always comes up in conversations with stepmoms when I talk to them is kids' events. Whether it's sporting events, school events, extracurriculars. Do I have to go to every single one of them? I hate going to them, or I would much rather work late, or whatever it is. If you want to do that, do that. If you want to go to every event, go to every event. But if you're going to every event wishing that you were somewhere else, why? Why are you doing that to yourself? It's okay for you to say, I'm going to sit the next one, the next two, the next three, however many out. And if you are Alicia, I can't believe that you would say that. I can't believe that you're giving, stepmoms permission to not go to every event. This is where I'm just the stepmom. I'm not required to go to every single thing. Maybe it doesn't work. Maybe that was the only time that you could fit in your workout, or maybe that was the only time that you could insert whatever it was that you needed to do. Get the massage that you've been dying to get, but it came at the expense of missing this event. Okay, fine. But when you get home or when you get back, you could have their favorite snack ready. You could have their favorite movie picked out. You guys go to watch a movie. You could be like, oh my gosh, tell me about your insert event, or tell me about your camp. How did it go? Whatever it is. But if you're not going to be there, I also highly recommend trying to be that encouraging or like loving and like, hey, tell me about whatever it is. And listen, if you're like, I don't care about their event, I hate that sport, or I can't stand my stepkid, or I whatever. Hi, welcome to the Stepmom Side Podcast. Absolutely have been there too. But here's the thing. You guys need to live together for however much longer you're going to be living together. So we're going to try to model the behavior that you want to see. So you can ask about whatever it was that they did or whatever. You don't have to be a complete jerk about it, but just be there, and you can say nice things or ask nice questions. Sometimes that takes a lot of energy. Yes, I totally get. Number 3. So we've covered number 1, what is codependency and why it matters. Number 2, key codependent patterns. And now we're on number 3, more challenging traits. So the first one, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them that I'm going to tell you. The first one was the one that I had said. The need for control. You're trying to manage behaviors or emotions or people at home to feel safe. And often this is subconscious. And like I said, I didn't realize like I was trying to feel safe. Like I had an emotionally unavailable parent. And so I was trying to feel safe. Like, you still like me, right? Like, even if I'm doing something that you don't like, you still like me, like to my stepfamily. Because when I was younger, if I did something that was against the grain, I was shunned, or I was given the silent treatment, or whatever. And I had to learn how to regulate my own emotions. I had to learn how to make myself feel safe. No one else can do that for me. I have to learn how to be able to do that. I have to be able to learn how to regulate, how to self-soothe, like all of the things. And so I was like, oh. And if you've listened to the podcast for a while, I'm sure you've heard me talk about how I have like this is kind of an exaggeration, but not really, but just to kind of like paint the picture for you. I was an emotional toddler. I was completely unregulated, and if everything, and maybe this can relate to you, or you can relate to this. If everything was going my way, it was wonderful. Life was freaking grand. We could not be clicking along at a better pace. But if things started to go sideways, no. Like, you've seen the meme or whatever about, yeah, I can go with the flow. Just tell me like when the flow starts, when's it going to end, when do we get off the flow, when do we get on the flow, all of the things, right? Very funny, but also that was 100% me. Like, I totally super laid back, super easy, go with the flow. Like, just tell me what the plan is. No, that's not going with the flow. That's, again, that need for control. A lot different now. Like, I'm a lot more go with the flow. But I masked this very well. Just like a side note, I masked this very well. Had you met me like way back then, you would have been like, oh yeah, Alicia's super easy to get along with. You did not know the fires I was fighting underneath the surface. But yeah, it's, what a wild ride. The second one, self-care neglect. Skipping your own hobbies, rest, or needs because everything else feels more urgent. And it's like, I did this too. I moved states for my husband. And so I had he's in Michigan, or we are now in Michigan, but I was living in Texas at the time. But I had my own thing there. Like, I would do 5K races on the regular, sometimes a 10K race. But there was an LA Fitness literally right behind my house, and I would go to spin classes all the time. I could go work out there. I could go run. I always like donated blood like on a schedule. Like, I was like, everything was organized, everything in its place, everything has a place. Like, we were on a schedule, and it was amazing. And then I moved here. I don't know anyone. I don't know the area. And now I'm a stepmom. Yeah, that didn't go well for me. So I didn't have time to figure out all of these new things because I was trying to figure out this new dynamic. So I absolutely lost myself in being a stepmom. I didn't have any hobbies. I didn't have any friends. How do you make friends as a stepmom? Especially in a small town. Like, everyone already knows, like, the kids and their parents, and then factor in, like, a new step-parent. Are you kidding me? And I feel like it's so much worse for stepmoms. Like, you come in and you go to a sporting event and you're like, oh, hi, I'm so-and-so stepmom. And you already know the look that I'm talking about. The side eye, up and down, and then factor in that I'm so much younger. And so it was like, oh, so you came in and were the homewrecker? No, I wasn't actually, but thank you so much for casting judgment. So yeah, like skipping your own hobbies. I didn't have any. It took a while for me to get back into having them. And then now I have friends here. I mean, hopefully after like 12 years of being here, I have friends. But if you watch my Instagram, you see my stories, like I go to Solid Core, I garden, I run, or I, use our Peloton tread or bike. Like I read. There's a lot of things that I do outside of being a stepmom, a mom, a wife, like things that I enjoy, or I meet friends for a dinner, like, or coffee or lunch or whatever, like things that I enjoy doing. Something that I used to not do was like get my hair done, and now I get my hair done. Like shout out to Lindsay, like I love you and I think that your work is amazing. But like paying her all of the extra money to go to her place, which is so nice, so cozy. If you are in the Ann Arbor area and you need a hairstylist, Lindsay, Styles by Lindsay Brown, like amazing. Rest is the second one. So skipping your own hobbies, rest. So rest. How many times have you cried yourself to sleep? Or how many times have you woken up in the middle of the night and you're like, let me just Google really quick, like stepmom support or stepmom advice, or why do I hate my stepkids, or me, how do you get divorced? And then it's like 3 hours later and you're like, oh my God, I need to be sleeping. And so then the next day, the cycle happens again, right? You are sleeping not well. And then you don't sleep at all because you've been up all night crying, your eyes are puffy, you're listening to podcasts, you're getting all the free resources, you're doing all the things. And then the next day, you don't feel that great because you didn't sleep that great. And so then you're like, I'm going to go to bed early tonight. And then this phone thing has got like a stranglehold on us. I mean, I'm 100% guilty of this too. Listen, I'm just like telling you all my bad habits on this podcast. But so then you skip sleep and you're just like, I feel like shit. And personally, like I'm a person that needs a lot of sleep, and I can absolutely tell when I'm sabotaging my sleep, and it's totally me because once I'm asleep, I'm out, like forget it. But please get your rest. Please get your rest. And then I feel like it goes like hand in hand with like needs, like please drink your water, please move your body. And I'm not saying like you have to work out, you have to run marathons or anything like that, but like even if it's just getting outside of your house, like those four walls that sometimes feel suffocating, like get out and go for a walk, or go run errands when everyone is over. Like go do something like that you need to do. Go take that long shower. Like do things that you need to do. Nothing is more urgent than your wants, needs, and desires. Maybe your needs. Maybe nothing is more important than, or more urgent than your needs, because everything else is riding on that. If you are not feeling great, how are you going to show up? Not great. If you're feeling okay, how are you going to show up? Okay. And if you're like, no, I can put on a good face and I can fake it till I make it. Yeah. But also you can only burn the candle at both ends until they meet in the middle. And then what? Then what are you doing? You're burnt out. You are in tears. Like life is so hard. Yeah, it's so much harder. And then what happens is you end up on a Zoom call with me and coaching. And that's not what I want for you. Like I would much rather you come into the Stepmom Side community and get this help like along the way. So then everything's not like piling up and piling up and piling up and piling up. And then you're like, I don't even know which way is up anymore, Alicia. Like my head has been under the water for so long. I don't even know what's happening. Okay. Fear of abandonment. This is number 3 in number 3. So like 3C. Oh my gosh. So I had talked about this too. Worrying that your partner or stepkids will reject or leave you unless you perform, right? Like I talked about earlier, like I had an emotionally unavailable parent, and if I did anything that went against the grain, it was like I was the worst person in the world. Not really, but that's how you feel as a kid. Like I am only good enough if I am the golden child, if I get good enough grades, if I, excel at this sport or whatever it is. And my parents are divorced and my dad was never around. So hello, fear of abandonment, like welcome. It's so good to see you. I thought we had dealt with you. And then I become a stepmom. And that it creeps back in. Like there's all of these things, I want to say stupid things from childhood that affect you that you don't even realize affect you until you become a stepmom and you're like, holy shit, what the hell is happening? I thought it was perfectly fine, right? Like, if you know my story, you knew that I was, in marriage counseling. Like, I'm so good. Like, I never been married. I don't have any kids. And I show up with no baggage. And she was like, wrong. Let's talk about you. So that fear of abandonment, and it also goes back to that people pleasing, like wanting everyone to like you. Okay, well, how do you get people to like you if you're a people pleaser? You perform. You constantly say yes. You always do the right thing and da-da-da. And so you're performing. And what way is a life, or what way is it to live a life if you're constantly just performing? No. No. We are not doing that, my friend. No. We're not doing that. They're not going to leave you. They might not like you too. That's okay. Because remember, we already discussed, like, you don't always like them 100% of the time. They're not required to like you 100% of the time. Number 4, or I guess D, enabling pandemic patterns. So you're supporting unhealthy behaviors rather than confronting them, especially when aligned with partner or family patterns. So let's say your partner doesn't have boundaries when it comes to the other house, and, she constantly runs the show and all of the things. And you're like, well, it's just easier if I don't say anything. And it doesn't do me any good to say anything. There have been so many times that I've been in a coaching call and the stepmom's like, nope, I don't even say anything anymore. It doesn't do me any good. Nope, I'm not going to try that. And I so badly want to shake my screen and say, then don't try it. But also, like, why are we here? I'm giving you different phrases or different ideologies to, like, work with. Try them rather than being so quick to be like, nope, not doing that, not trying that. Try them. So if your partner is accustomed to not talking about hard things, or, they just keep the peace or whatever, like, listen, I think that our partners were all cut from the same cloth because, hi, welcome. I feel like this should be like a live show, and like you come and like watch like live, and we can be like, oh my gosh, yes. Like, you can be in the comments and like, oh my gosh, yes. But if that's how they were brought up, or that's how their relationship was in the past with their previous partner or previous marriage, that might be how they want to go going forward. And you and I both know that that's not healthy. That's why you're here. That's why you're listening. And sometimes though, like, you just get so worn down. Like, is this you? Like, let me know. Send me a message. I'm at Alicia on Instagram. You just get so worn down that you're like, forget it. Whatever. I don't even care. I just checked out, right? And then you get into like the doom scrolling, and then like 2 hours later, you're like, what did I just do with the last 2 hours of my life? This is so ridiculous. And so you just stop confronting things. So those are the 4 things for more challenging traits: need for control, self-care neglect, fear of abandonment, enabling pandemic patterns. So let's move on to number 4, roots of codependency. And I've already talked about number 1, or A, childhood experiences, growing up with emotional or addicted parents. And these don't have to be the extreme, right? Like, my mom was a, what is the word? Silent treatment. I was going to say silencer, but that's not right. Silent treatment. She would yell, either or. And so if you got the silent treatment, it was like the groveling of like, please talk to me. Tell me what I did. I'll make it better. Like, no, I'm a kid. I don't have a completely developed frontal cortex. To be honest, she was 19 when she had my sister and I were Irish twins. So she didn't even have a completely developed brain until she was 25. So I was 6. Yeah. So like, just like the emotional dysregulation is insane. And then, so I didn't have the emotional regulation, right? Like those early years in childhood, like I didn't have the emotional regulation. I was painfully shy as a kid. My older sister, not so much. I was like, you are going to get us kidnapped. Would talk to anyone and everyone. We could not be more night and day. Or if you've got like addicted parents on anything, whether it's substances, porn, whatever, like just the addiction in general, like that's really hard. Like codependency often finds itself a lot in like addicted relationships. And so that part sucks, you know, kind of like I said earlier, like when I went to marriage counseling, I thought I was great. And then she was like, no, let's talk about you and your problems. So my childhood experiences, I thought that I had dealt with those things, and then they showed back up as a stepmom, and I was completely blindsided by that. I had no idea that that was coming. And so if you are just starting, like if you're listening to this and you're like piecing it together, welcome. Hi. That's a fucking ride. Like, I didn't realize that my childhood was what it was. Like, right? Because you grow up thinking that your childhood is normal, or maybe you've now pieced together that like, maybe it wasn't normal, and then like how it's playing out, and you've done everything you can do or have tried to do to like get away from it. Next, abuse history, whether it's physical, emotional, or even neglect, can teach codependent survival strategies. Like I said, like that silent treatment, and I'm like, how do I, there I was being the thermometer, like how do I can see that she's angry, so I'm going to be, trying to like make things better or whatever, and it's just, so yeah, physical and emotional abuse are insane. And sometimes I think that the emotional abuse is so much harder to deal with because they're the scars that no one sees. Like, you have your own story. Everyone has their own story. Everyone's fighting battles that you know nothing about. And then, here in society, especially on social media, you make snap judgments about other people without even knowing half of the story. And it sucks. I have like so many thoughts on that. I'm like, it just, that part sucks. And no one knows like what is on the other side of that screen. Next, learned behavior. Maybe you're modeling behavior that your caregivers or extended family did, and so that's what you observed and that's what you internalized. I will throw myself under the bus here and say I did the exact same shit my mom did to me, to my husband. I am so embarrassed by that. I feel like these last few podcasts that I've done, I've just kind of like opened the floodgates, and I'm like, hey, listen, come take a look inside my personal skeleton closet or my closet of skeletons. But I did the exact same behavior she did to me because I didn't know better, because I had no idea. So silent treatment, I was A+ gold medal performance for silent treatment. That is mortifying to tell you that. I could silent treatment my way through anything. I was so good at it. That's terrible. And so then my husband, who is a thermostat, is now trying to be a thermometer and trying to figure out like how to make things better, and like I just didn't have the emotional regulation to say, I'm struggling. I'm having a really hard time. I'm upset about X, Y, and Z. What I need is X, Y, and Z, blah, blah, blah. Let's have a conversation about it. I didn't have that. So in that sense, I feel like I'm that much better of a mom because I had to work through all of this shit at like the worst possible time, like new marriage, and now we've got stepkids and like all of the things. In order to be the mom that I am now, like I had to get the help because I would have just kept perpetuating that cycle. And so I internalized it. Like if somebody did something that you didn't like, you just cut them off and like never talk to them again. Or if you were mad at somebody, you just didn't talk to them. And then they would like have to come back and grovel at you, like the amount of power that you feel. No, like that's so disgusting. Like, no. And another thing, like never apologizing, never hearing the other person's side of the story or saying like, oh yeah, well, if you wouldn't have done that, then I wouldn't have done this. It's your fault we got here in the first place. No, how about we have some accountability? Like, I don't know if you've seen these posts, like they're like quote things in the last however long on Instagram, but there's something like anyone that doesn't take accountability sees, or people that don't have the emotional regulation like take accountability as a personal attack or something like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, yes. And I can sit here and say from a much better perspective or position emotionally that, yeah, that was 100% me. Like I said, I don't feel great telling you that, but I didn't have the emotional regulation that I needed to have to be married. I'm so grateful that my husband decided to stick around, and like things are so good. So number 5, so we've gone, I'm going to go over them. Number 1, what is codependency and why it matters? Number 2, key codependent patterns. Number 3, more challenging traits. Number 4, roots of codependency. Now we're on to number 5, impact on you and your family. Number 1, or 5A, damaged relationships. I already talked about this. The emotional volatility. but you already know. How many times have you screamed at your partner? How many times have you been waiting with bated breath for your stepkids to leave so you can just unleash like all of the fury that you're feeling? Relatable? Yep, welcome. I used to scream at my husband too. Again, not proud of it, but that's the reality of the situation. Conflict, sometimes we perpetuate the conflict and because it's chaos, but like we feel safe in chaos because it's comforting, because it's normal, because it's how we were raised. So you just stay there. If you are listening to this, episode right before this, number 106, is with Anne-Marie Tresso, and we talked about why stepmoms and their partners keep having the same fights and how to get off that drama loop. Like, it is such a great podcast episode, so go listen to number 106. I will also link that here in the show notes, but it's so freaking good. Or that recurrent disconnection. How many times, because I hear this often too, how many times do you feel like my partner and I are on different pages? We can't get on the same page. Or my relationship or our relationship is amazing as long as my stepkids aren't around. As long as we don't have anything else that we're trying to deal with. As long as insert whatever. You're going to stay in that disconnection until one of you gets off and makes the change. Next up, low self-esteem. Feeling not enough no matter how much you care. Remember we talked about at the beginning, like trying to care so much, like so much so that you care more than everyone else and you're trying to do all of the things and you're still not enough. You can't care more than everyone else. You cannot care more about your stepkids than your partner does, than their mom does. You can't. And people are like, yes, you can. You know, they'll fight you on it. That's great. But guess what? Like, this is the thing that's like heartbreaking for me, is when you know that your stepkid needs therapy, whether it's physical therapy, emotional therapy, like all of the things, or needs like an IEP or something like that, right? This is an extreme situation. But you can't do anything about it. It does not matter how much you care in that situation, because if their parents aren't on board, there's a very good chance that you are not getting them into any sort of therapy. Physical therapy, emotional therapy, like, no. You can't be the one. This is like a blanket statement. Generally speaking, the stepmom doesn't have any authority in that role to make the call to say, yes, we are getting an IEP, we are starting therapy, we are starting insert whatever. And that part sucks. And so, yeah, you feel like you're not enough because here I am caring so much. Like, it's so easy to get caught in that downward spiral of, I'm never going to be enough. Mental health struggles. Maybe you have a heightened risk of anxiety, depression, or, I don't know, burnout from chronic emotional labor. Hello, sign me up for that. That part is so much, because the anxiety of needing to have contingency plans for A through Z, right? Like, you're a stepmom. Like, we are all cut from the same cloth too, right? Like, especially the stepmoms that like I attract. The type A, the control freak, the driven, the ambitious, the I'm so good at running my life, let me run yours. But having the contingency plans for everything and then constantly thinking about, okay, well, if this one doesn't work out, then we'll go to this one. If that one, girlfriend, that's anxiety. Welcome. I didn't know that either. That's anxiety. The depression of like, I can't believe that I signed up for this. I can't believe that I waited this long to get married. And this is the stuff that I'm dealing with. Or you crying yourself to sleep at night, or not even wanting to get out of bed, like those things. Or just being completely fried. Earlier I talked about like burning the candle at both ends, burnt out from all of the emotional labor of like all of the things. So yeah, that's a massive, these things damage relationships, low self-esteem, and mental health struggles are a massive impact on you and your family. Massive impact. So number 6, how to begin unpacking codependency. Number 1, or A, I guess 6A, I keep like saying that this whole entire time, therapy. Go to individual therapy to explore patterns, couples or family therapy for blended family dynamics. And if you're going to go to therapy for blended family dynamics, please, 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 please make sure that you're a therapist or counselor or whoever you see has experience or I want to say training, but like experience, because you can train somebody on blended family stuff, but like unless you've lived it, like you really don't get it. So please find somebody that has experience with blended family dynamics. And if you are like, we can't find somebody, please come see me. I'm happy to coach you through it. Like, it's so freaking hard to just like break the patterns, or even sometimes to recognize them until you like see them and know them. Next, self-awareness practices. Journaling, like you can see the patterns in there. Like if you, let's say it could be cyclical too, like lined up with your cycle. Like sometimes you feel like low on the month, low energy, or things bother you more, or every time, a certain time of the year. But like journaling, you can just see, or you notice like whenever your stepkids are coming, you feel a certain way. Whenever they're leaving, you feel a certain way. And so you can see the patterns, and you can kind of start to prep for them, or, do things to circumvent the patterns. You can also do boundary setting exercises. You can identify the triggers, whether it's like a fear of rejection or abandonment, not feeling enough, low self-esteem, all of the things. And you can also notice the compulsive caregiving behaviors. Like, today I noticed that I, reverted back to what I was doing before, which is like, I just took on everything because it was so much easier if I did it. And just because it's easier doesn't mean that you should be doing it. So number 7, the last one. So I know we've covered a lot. Like, I'll repeat them again for you. I definitely save this one. What is codependency and why it matters? Number 2, key codependent patterns. Number 3, more challenging traits. Number 4, roots of codependency. Number 5, impact on you and your family. Number 6, how to begin unpacking codependency. Number 7, practical tools you can start using. So number 1, or 7A, let's try that. Set one small boundary this week. Say no to a request that drains you. Say no to a request that drains you, whether it's going to pick up or drop off, whether it's going to an event, whether it's saying no to extra work, whether it's not meeting this friend that makes you crazy, whatever it is. Like, say no to a request that drains you. B, schedule a self-care activity, even if it's 10 minutes, and treat it as a non-negotiable. Like, I want you to schedule this. I don't know if this is like you too, but if it is not on my calendar, girl, we are not doing it. We are not doing it. Like, when you book a coaching call with me, that goes on my calendar immediately, because if not, you might show up, but I'm not. Like, anything that's not on my calendar does not get done. I literally schedule things. That's why when I go to my solid core classes, like, I actually go to them because they're scheduled on my calendar. And in the morning, on days that I don't go, if I don't work out straight away, it is not happening. C, keep a feelings log. So note when you feel panic. Note when you feel the need to please, or note when you're feeling like that fear of rejection or abandonment, or when you're feeling really low. So these are things that you can just do now, like start that now. So one, set a small boundary this week. And it doesn't even have to be blended family related. You can do it like in your own personal life too, like, or your time outside of step family life, if that's easier. Start there. That's how you gain the confidence to do bigger things. This is what I tell, it's like a private coaching call. This is what I tell stepmoms that I coach. Set one small boundary, or start with one small thing. Like, speak up on one small thing, start one small boundary, or, do one positive interaction with your stepkids, or change one phrase that you use with your partner. Start small. Get bigger as time goes on. We're not trying to build Rome in a day. Like, that's not how this happens. Start small. Schedule a self-care activity. Literally put it on your schedule, even if it's just 10 minutes. Again, send me a message on Instagram. I'm just at Alicia Crosco, and say, hey, I listened to podcast episode number 107 about codependency. You said to schedule, your self-care activity. I scheduled X, Y, and Z on this date. I want to know that you are actually taking care of yourself, because somebody asked you, and girl, you need to take care of yourself. And then keep a feelings log, and just note when you're starting to feel whatever feelings. And again, back to that journaling thing, like, you can see the patterns that are coming. Okay, this one was a big episode. This is a lot. Like, I'm trying to get into doing longer solo podcast episodes, because I feel like they're a lot more helpful. So if you enjoyed this, another thing, like please send me a message on Instagram. I'm just at Alicia Crasco and say, hey, you know what? I love the longer podcast episodes. So thank you so much. And if you're still listening to this and you've made it this far, it's not at like the end part yet. Can you please leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts? Like that would be so freaking helpful. I think that the last review I had was back in, I'm going to go look because I think it was November. November 12th, 2024. December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July. That was 7 months ago, 8 months ago. I can't count, even though I just counted them. So please leave a rating and a review. I would greatly, greatly appreciate that. That's how we get the podcast out and into the ears of more stepmoms. And guess, this is like super exciting. I haven't said this publicly. But in a few weeks, I turned 40 and I am currently at a little over 38,000 podcast episode downloads. And I'm so excited. I would love to get to 40,000 podcast episode downloads by the time I hit 40, which is the second week of August. So right now I will tell you the real number right now. I'm at 38,158. So if you know a stepmom that could absolutely benefit from this podcast episode, please send it to her. Send it her way. Like, I think we all know a stepmom that could like listen to this. So yeah, like I said, this one was a big one and it was a lot, but thank you so much for being on this journey with me in this podcast episode. Codependency is so challenging, but recognizing that you're in it or you're doing the behaviors to like perpetuate it, that's the first step. And I just want you to know that you are not alone. And if you crave support from women that are going through this, please come join us inside the Stepmom Side community. It's where you can belong, you can be honest, and you can grow. I'll leave it in the show notes, like how to join, but it's aliciacrasco.com/community. The support there is specific to stepmom life, codependency, because that's how this podcast episode came about, and educating your heart alongside your blended family. But more importantly, it's all about taking care of you. So thank you so much for tuning into this episode. I will chat with you next week. Thanks for taking time to listen to this week's episode. If anything was helpful or resonated with you, please share it on social media and tag me. I'm just at Alicia Crasco. And if you could leave a 5-star rating and a review while you're at it, that would also be really helpful. And if you find yourself struggling with your stepmom journey and you want a little bit more support without the hefty price tag of coaching, you might want to check out the Stepmom Side community, which is my own private community for stepmoms, where you get to connect with other stepmoms around the world and myself, where I hold weekly office hours and monthly group coaching. It's kind of like you have your own personal coach in your own back pocket. Again, without that hefty price tag. See you next week.